Hey everybody, this is Alchemisted, and this is a new one, isn't it? Staring at the ESRB. So, they went into a deep dive on Starfield. You're going to have to pardon me. I'm probably going to be clearing my throat constantly through this, because I've been really under the weather lately. But they did this big gameplay reveal, and I started watching it, and I decided that I should probably... Because I was finding that I was having a lot to say. As I was sitting here watching this, and rather than do something after the fact, I wanted to give my unfiltered thoughts as we went through. So I figured, why not do this for the channel? So, Starfield. They're going to talk about whispering about making that space game, very early on in this. And I want to talk a little bit about that before we begin, too. I am going to be pausing this quite a bit, so fair warning. Warning you guys, if that irritates the shit out of you, yeah, you may have a bad time here. But I'll include the link to this video in the description, so if you want to watch the whole thing without me talking over it, then you go right ahead. But that space game is something that I've wanted for a very long time. And it's been attempted by a lot of people, with a lot of varying levels of success. I think one of the earliest contenders was the original Elite on the BBC Micro, who tried to make that space game. Before that, there was stuff like Star Control. Was that before? No, that may have been after. I think that was after. Where am I? I'm thinking of stuff more like on the Apple II. Holy shit. I remember Robotrek. Lots of games from the Apple II and early DOS days. That I'm dating myself that I played those games, but yeah, I totally did. Then there was Elite, and then you had stuff like Star Control. Take a sip of water here. My throat's so damn irritated right now. And that really was the beginning of that sort of genre of big immersive space game. Later on, you would have stuff like Privateer, which I think probably did the best job of many of these attempts at creating an immersive setting. It was the Wing Commander setting, but still. Freelancer gave it the old college try. There's a game on Steam that I've heard is really good. The name doesn't come to mind. I'm not going to try and dig around too much for it right now in my brain, though. But you also had No Man's Sky, which was incredibly ambitious out of the gate and fell flat on its face and has since recovered. It's gotten better. Now it is that space game, as opposed to simply wanting to be that space game when it was first released. Elite has added on-foot stuff in Elite Dangerous. It is trying desperately hard to be that space game. Star Citizen has spent such a fortune on trying to be that space game for so goddamn long. Oy. And everything that I see, whenever they reveal something, it's always impressive. But after that much time, it fucking should be, to quote the Duke. And the game the Duke said that in wasn't even particularly impressive. Star Trek Online was sold to... In 2008... 2008, 2009, you had one of these days, brief tangent, won't stay on this for too long, but one of these days, there's going to be some tell-all book come out that just talks about the sordid story of Star Trek Online, because the story of that game is one of rumors, bargains, and lies. It is so sorted. They from like the development hell. Star Trek Online was originally being developed by Activision for the PlayStation 2. Think about that. How many versions of this game have there been? Completely different versions where they threw away everything and started over again. Like, 'cause I can name at least 3. And those are just the ones that I know of. There's Activision, there's Perpetual, and then there's Cryptic. I think Bethesda, like either Mad Dog or Bethesda, were trying to do one at some point. It changed hands so many times. Like and then in like 2008, 2009, Cryptic Studios gets their hands on Star Trek Online, and are given like Atari gives them less than a year, like a year. About like a year or less, but that's about how long they had to like finish this game and get it playable. That's why the game launched like ass. Like it launched, it had an awful launch. It was in rough shape. I still played the shit out of it because it was the only Star Trek that we had at the time. But still, yeah. But, like, you had months and months of, like, Craig Zinkovich, the CEO of Cryptic, getting on stage and talking about all these features that the game was going to have. And he was pitching it as that space game. You know, there was going to be full colonization of planets and a full Klingon player faction at launch. And, oh my god, most of, like, I want to say at least half the promises that he ran up on stage. If you could find like old articles of Craig Zinkovich selling Star Trek Online up on stage of like various gaming events, just read the crazy shit he was promising. And like I'd say like at least half of that list has never happened, has never manifested. And like most of the other half of that list, the stuff that did manifest, some of it took fucking years. I mean, when I say years, I don't mean like 1 or 2 or 3. I mean like 10 years before it ended up in the game. So, And now the Embracer Group is laying off a whole bunch of people because of Gollum and all that shit. Someone's gonna write a book about Stowe. Okay? Someone's gonna write. If you're writing, look, I have a long memory. I remember so much of the drama of Stowe. Me and my group of friends, sometimes we just reminisce about all the crazy shit that's gone on with Stowe over the years. Sometimes we just can't help ourselves but feel nostalgic for all the fucking chaos. Like, Bordicus telling somebody else off on the Jupiter Force forums, causing the entire dev team to go radio silent for months. That was about the time when Fleet Starbases came out, I think. Right after the Deep Space Nine featured episode series that now is no longer in the main mission progression for some stupid fucking reason. Like, this is all gonna come out. Gecko running around, being Gecko, like Al Rivera being a douche to the new guy, to Bordicus, because he said, well, we're taking all their currencies and we're gypping them in the conversion process. Maybe we should give them like something like a special buff or something. And he starts running around calling him Tron. Just stuff like that. It's like going on. You know, he calls him Tron because he fights for the users. You naive little shit. You know, it's like just like all kinds of that little like that. Like, someone's gonna write a book about Stowe one day. And if you're writing that book, like, DM me. DM me, because like if you're ever wondering like how or when or like what happened, dude, we've got like fucking photographic memory of this shit because we went through it. So please, if you're writing that book, I would love to talk about it. But so many people try this, and it's like sometimes it's like something of the scale of the ambition of, like, you can make a Western, right? You can make a Western and make your Western the most Western that was ever was. And you guys have like 20, like 20, 30 miles of terrain you can cross. And you got you've got like a whole village, and everybody's got like set like schedules, and like there are mechanics where like you can like rob the stores and stuff. You can make a Western, and you can do that because a Western is a thing that is contained to a specific place and time on a specific area on a specific continent. Like that is isolated from the rest of the world events, and you could laser focus and go in detail on what life was like for somebody living in this era, or at least you can do your best to approximate it. Space is another matter. Space, you're dealing with planets. You're dealing with planets. I want you to think of all the crazy shit, like all the memes, all the jokes, all the triumph and heartbreak of the last 100 years, and like think about how that's only happened on this one planet and how that's shaped the technology and everything here. Now try to create that kind of immersion across multiple planets, like hundreds of fucking planets across like 16 light years or something. My point is, this is a tall order. This is insanely ambitious. Like, this is like Spirits Within level. Like, I think that what they're trying to do with Starfield is Spirits Within level make or break a company. Because Squaresoft was trying to... Squaresoft actually basically tried to make the first VTuber, like the first like digital celebrity, with this like CGI chick that was going to be in their all CGI movie, The Spirits Within. Her name was Aki, and she was voiced by Ming-Na. I don't know if she was mocap by Ming-Na or not, but they were trying to like make like a CGI person that would basically be like their own like house-owned movie star, and they like had like behind-the-scenes stuff of her like walking around like the offices, showing people around and interacting with production staff and such. That all had to be ridiculously expensive. It was like no fucking wonder that Squaresoft went under. But that was their vision. They had that ambition, and it broke their company. And I'm just, from everything I have seen previously, and everything I've seen from the first 15 minutes of this video, I get the feeling that this is yet another, this is a make or break project. This could either be spectacular, or it could be apocalyptic. Like, there is no in between for something of this size and complexity. But I've been talking for 13 minutes. Let's go ahead and get into the video. That's my initial impressions. We'll talk more after we're done watching together. This is about 45 minutes, so get comfortable.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to Bethesda Game Studios. You know, we've been so lucky over the decades to make the kind of games that we love here, and that's thanks to all of you. From the Elder Scrolls to Fallout, we love creating these worlds and playing in them just as much as you do. And throughout all that time, we'd often talk about and dream up the space game. What if we could take that feeling of being who you want to be and exploring a new world, but set it in space, where you weren't really limited in where you could go or what you could do? And that is Starfield. Obviously, we've come a long way since then.
Pausing. I gotta like put something like a little quarter or something. I don't know. I'll like come up with something. But That's another problem with this type of game that I'm wondering if they're going to be able to overcome is the overload of empty space. Like, it's one thing, it's great to have a whole bunch of empty space for you to go nuts in, but at the end of the day, it's still just empty space, and the only real purpose you give it is, the only real purpose and interesting potential it has is what you give it. So, if you have all this empty space, eventually you're going to get bored with all that empty space. Like, it's going to be like, alright, I got all this empty space, what the hell else am I going to do? I gotta run around it. All right, I can run around and shoot things for a few hours, maybe, and then I'm bored. Yeah. So I wonder if they're going to be able to overcome that.
With the games we've built, our technology, and all of us here in the studio, we've done so much together, but, well, we've never tried to make a game like this. Today, you'll get to hear from many on the team and see so much of what we think makes our game special. So let's jump in and take a look. Starfield is our first new universe in over 25 years, but it's still a Bethesda RPG through and through, where you step into a new world and you get that feeling of unlimited possibilities. But this time, it's not just one world.
I wonder what they're...
It's over 1,000 worlds. Because the choice of where to go, it's not ours. It's yours.
So I wonder what that moment is going to be. Because, like, ever since Fallout 3, all the Bethesda's games have had to have that moment where, like, the whole world just appears in front of you. Like, it's after you get out of Vault 111 in Fallout 3. It's after you escape from... No, it didn't start with Vault 3. It started with Oblivion. Right. It was in Oblivion where, like, the world just sort of, like, came into view in, like, brilliant color. Like bright blue sky and, like, green everywhere after you escape from the sewers. And then in Fallout, you see the capital wasteland after you escape from Vault 111. In Skyrim, it's seeing... It's running along, like, the river to Riverrun after escaping from Helgen. Like all of these games, like, have something. Like, it's going up the elevator in Fallout 4, which I should install again. I really like Fallout 4. I know a lot of people slag on it, but...
And it wasn't until now that we had the technology to create it. From the rocks at your feet to the mountains in the distance, to the people and creatures that live in these worlds. That isn't just a backdrop. That moon is actually there orbiting the planet. Yes, you can visit it too.
It is a JPEG right now, though.
We realistically simulate the galaxy around you. Our next-generation lighting model uses real-time global illumination to light the world based on the type of star and the makeup of the planet's atmosphere.
Ray tracing.
We also have an all-new animation system. And of course,
which is good.
You can play it in third person, and you can play it in first person.
If memory serves, the animation system they introduced for Fallout 4 was incredibly painful to work with. This is from what I've read from, like, modders and stuff. Like, the animation system for Fallout 4 was very obtuse compared to Skyrim. And then there was all the problems with 76, so this is on the Creation engine. This is the same engine that ran Skyrim and Fallout. So they introduced a new animation framework into the Creation engine. Okay. Hopefully the ability for modders to do facial expressions will be much better. Because I remember reading the facial expressions were such a pain in the ass in Fallout mods. And Skyrim.
We love exploration and rewarding it, but you do explore differently in this game, given its scale.
This is your
that usually involves exploring an area you've landed in. You can collect resources, do a mission, and maybe even stumble upon something unexpected.
And it's Fallout. We're just playing Fallout 4 now. Watch the bullets. Watch the bullets here. Those bullets are moving independent of the gun. That's a bad way to go. So yeah, that gun has to have like either we're dealing with some, because that reminded me a lot of Fallout 3 when the bullets were like at a different angle from the gun when they were like outside of the barrel. So either that gun is some kind of smart weapon that tracks a target that you've locked onto, and you can, and it's like Fifth Element where you can like move the gun around and the bullets will still track to it, or we're dealing with some jank in the combat. It is a Bethesda game.
We do love stuff and all of the items allowing you to pick everything up. And you can view all that in your data menu.
I can't wait for the mods
This
to come
is the hub for everything you're doing, from your skills to your ship, your missions, and your inventory. We love to pack a ton of detail in every object, from all of your weapons, to spacesuits, to food. We just obsess over the details, and food. We obsess over food. When you're done exploring, you can walk back or fast travel to your ship. We have companions and crew you can take with you. I left Vasco here back at my ship.
Welcome back, Captain Howard.
And he can even say your name. Let's head out.
Our mission was to convey the wonder and majesty of space exploration, to evoke the romance of the golden age of early spaceflight. And we've been referring to this approach as NASA Punk. This means a design language where the tech is advanced, yet still looks grounded and relatable.
For us, it's that contrast. That's where the visual interest is. Obviously the NASA, which is the rigid, hard function over style, and then Punk, which is all about style.
You can see that visual style coming through in your ship. Your ship is your home for you and your crew. And like many of the spaces in our game, it has a slightly retro and analog touch, a bit of lo-fi rather than sci-fi, where everything is well used, worn, and lived in.
There's a phrase that exists already for this kind of design aesthetic, and it's called cassette futurism. And it's basically like a lot of everything looks very mass-produced and a lot of molded plastic, very lived in. You see this if you watch like Outland or Aliens. You see a lot of this in Total Recall. Basically, you see a lot of it around sci-fi stuff produced in the 80s or so. Alien Isolation really nailed this aesthetic. Some of the other Alien games less so. Yeah, the less said about Colonial Marines, the better.
Alrighty, what's the plan, Captain?
This is your star map. It starts with the planet you're currently on. You can see all of its info and resources. You can choose a landing spot or fast travel to known locations. Backing out further, you can view all the planets in the system. Obviously, the game is big, and it's here you can see planets that have key locations, missions, or life on them, versus the many planets that are barren but resource-heavy. Zoom out even further to see all the systems in this part of the galaxy. Here, you can plot a course to ones that are light years away. This uses your ship's grav drive to fold space and jump to these systems. And you will need to upgrade your ship and skills if you want to jump to the most distant ones. But for now, we'll plot a course to the Alpha Centauri system, where we can find the city of New Atlantis.
So yeah, check this out. I have some thoughts.
Welcome to UC Space.
So what you've created is a loading screen. That's what that timer is. It's a loading screen. Like the timer and then the cutscene that plays and then being your... That's what's happened. I feel like this, like, okay, it's fair enough. But I feel like this lacks a substantial... I was hoping for a lot more drama in how you, like, travel through. So I'll give you an example. In Star Trek Bridge Commander, which we're going to get to one of these days, in Star Trek Bridge Commander, when you travel from, like, system to system, your travel time varies between systems, but, like, because based on where you are. Because the game has a map of the Maelstrom programmed into it. It keeps track of where you are, point to point. So, like, it does, like, your warp factor, like, how fast you're going does affect your travel time. And while you're traveling, you can get up and move around. And what it's basically, you enter the, like, this loading screen, this holding screen, let's call it, where you can get up, if you have a mod installed, get up and move around your bridge, or you can talk to all your bridge officers by default. You know, you can basically just sort of, like, chill there on your ship. Or you can hit a button and, like, get some cinematic views of your ship while it's at warp. And then, either by pressing a key, or you can set it to happen automatically, I think. I think by default it's automatic. You can drop out of warp at your... You get a small cutscene where you drop out of warp at your destination. That is a very small thing, but it adds just enough drama to the act of transitioning from one place to another. Because if you're going on a mission, you have no idea what you're going into. You're expecting combat. You're talking to Brex, allocating subsystem power, preparing for being under the gun, and you're just sort of like waiting. You're walking around your bridge, if you have that get up and move around and mod installed. You're walking around your bridge and you're waiting for the shit to hit the fan. Just enough is done to add some drama to the act of getting from place to place and make it more than just sitting through a loading screen. And yeah, this feels a lot like how people like the Yamiks were complaining about when you in like Elite Odyssey, when you land on a planet, you just kind of spawn outside the ship. You don't get to leave it or go back in or what have you. You just spawn outside the ship, and when you get back in the ship, you like walk up to like your boarding ramp and you just like disappear and spawn inside your cockpit. And there's no real drama involved in embarking or disembarking. So this is a bit of a letdown for me to see how this works, but it's a Bethesda game. The complexity of the game they're making, there's probably some things that they simply, I don't want to say they didn't have the resources for it, but in a game of this complexity that they're trying to attempt, like I said, this feels like a make or break title with how complex this game is. I guess you just have to choose your battles.
Maintain your current course while we scan your ship's cargo. Scan complete. You are cleared for landing at New Atlantis.
As soon as you land in a city like New Atlantis, your eyes are guided upwards to just these boundless, vast buildings.
It's the biggest city we've ever made, not just in size, but also in the amount of custom art, crowds, and quests.
So the main focus when we're designing a city is obviously what supports the story. We try and tell as many small stories as possible.
This is a Colony War memorial.
It's a few moments of gameplay that make the space feel like it's full of real characters that are going about their day-to-day lives.
It's paralyzing if you really stop and think about it.
Buddy, it's coffee.
It's also where your adventure with Constellation begins.
Welcome to Constellation. We have a lot to talk about.
By the time you meet them, Constellation is sort of seen as this mythical group. Most people don't even know they exist anymore. They're the last true explorers in the galaxy, and they're trying to find the answers to some of humanity's biggest questions.
The artifacts are so different, so alien, and I'm certain one of them reached out and spoke to you. The artifact. If you could place it on the table here.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Look at how it's coming together.
That means there's a set built by an intelligence outside the settled systems.
It's definitely an eclectic cast of characters. You've got Sarah Morgan, the ex-soldier and adventurer, now Constellations leader. Mateo, the theologian who believes that there's definitely something else out there. Noel, the gifted scientist and Sarah Morgan's protege. And Walter, a very successful businessman in the settled systems and Constellations financier.
Anything goes as long as you have the money.
There's also Vlad, the ex-pirate, Sam Coe, the former space cowboy, and Barrett.
You know what I hate about these pirates? Completely resistant to my otherwise irresistible charm.
The journey you take with Constellation is just the first of many you'll embark on. The Settled Systems is home to all kinds of different stories, people, and adventures for you to uncover.
And then the Cloverfield monster happened.
The United Colonies is where you'll find New Atlantis, the first major human settlement in space. The people who live here value law, discipline, and the legacy of humanity. They consider themselves the true children of Earth.
You ever think of joining up with the Vanguard? Help the United Colonies, even get your UC citizenship?
New Atlantis isn't the only city within the United Colonies. The city of Cydonia on Mars to this day serves as the largest mining facility for the United Colonies. Beyond the United Colonies' reach, you might find yourself in a much more wild and independent coalition of star systems. This is Freestar Collective Space.
Now we're talking.
The capital of the Freestar Collective is Aquila City.
The Stone Root Inn is an Aquila City fixture.
A ranger relies on judgment and intuition to do what's best for the people.
Neon started out as a fishing platform, but is now known throughout the settled systems as a pleasure city, where almost anything goes.
If you've got morality issues, this definitely isn't the job for you.
Ryujin is hiring the best and brightest of today for our future tomorrow.
Everyone has been chewed up and ground up by Neon. Try not to get yourself killed, all right?
That's okay, I can reload.
Outside the bounds of civilized space, there are still plenty of unclaimed systems to explore, but these areas are also home to the most hostile factions in the galaxy.
The great serpent hungers. All heathens shall be made dust in time.
A new face. Is this the face of a brave runner here to challenge the Red Mile?
They think the galaxy is theirs. They are wrong. It belongs to the Crimson Fleet. It always has.
In Starfield, we're pushing our cities and settlements further than we ever have before. It's all there, waiting for you. A slice of humanity's future.
So, ready to get out there?
Yeah, I'm gonna need a flying saucer.
Throughout the galaxy, there are so many things to see and stories to experience. But the most important story is the one that you tell. I'm the type of person who spends hours in character creation, and I think people are going to be really excited when they see all of the improvements we've made.
One of the biggest overhauls was done through our character generation system.
We scanned a wide range of faces from different age groups and ethnicities, and by mixing and matching all that data, we were able to create highly detailed and diverse characters.
We use that exact system to create all of the characters and NPCs you're going to see in the game. So any character you see almost always is a character you could make yourself.
I had to go.
Hey, come on. Okay, take it easy. You were out cold. No physical damage. Mentally, the jury's still out. You know who you are? New recruit for Argos Extractors? Ring any bells?
I know that shit.
Any of this look familiar?
You start your character creation journey as though you're cycling through employee records. You'll pick from a lineup of 40 presets, and that'll be your starting point. Your journey from there can be as detailed or as quick as you want it to be. This new system has more to offer than ever before.
It's also the simplest character generation system we've ever had. We let the player get as close as possible to make whatever they want. With the various facial morphs you can blend together, the dermesthetic and makeup, blemishes, scars, piercings, teeth settings, it's a lot, but I think it's the most fun to use.
Character creation is more than just how you look. This is also where you start to decide who you want to be. That's where backgrounds come in. Backgrounds give you a bit of backstory and start you out with 3 basic skills.
From chef to Dusty. You know, the crew still has a betting pool about which restaurant critic you must have crossed to wind up here.
What's great about backgrounds is you never know when yours is going to come in handy. You could be in the middle of a fancy restaurant talking to some guy, and suddenly you learn he needs a beast hunter to help track down a monster.
Fine. I probably should stick to professionals anyway, given what happened the last time.
We're also giving you the option to customize your build even further by letting you pick up to 3 traits. Traits are completely optional, and they come with their own advantages and disadvantages. You could choose to meet your biggest fan.
Vectera, by Vectera, by Vectera! Is it really, really you?
He'll join your crew, and he'll give you gifts if you're willing to put up with his constant commentary.
I can't believe I get to stand near you, breathing the same air. I've got to have every molecule.
My favorite trait is kid stuff. You have to pay some credits to support your parents, but they're very sweet, and it's really fun to go visit them.
Honey, we got ourselves a visitor.
Oh my god!
I came across some hostile zealots in space, but because I had chosen a trait that made...
Quick aside. I wonder if they're using the same tech from Fallout 4 in reverse, where you can customize your spouse and your character, and the version of Sean you encounter is an amalgamation of the facial traits of both. I wonder if they're gonna do that. I wonder if they're gonna switch that around for the player character's parents in this game. Because it'd be kind of weird if they didn't look like the player character at all.
Made me the same religion as them, I was able to get by without any issues.
My religion
There's
is
another
death to
great
pirates.
one that gives you a damage buff when your health is low, but mercenaries will randomly show up and try to kill you.
Yeah!
No matter what you choose.
That's what I'm talking about. Give me something interesting. If I'm in the middle of nowhere and I'm bored, that's the kind of trait I would like to pick, because that means that something is gonna fucking happen. Even if I have nothing, even if I have no idea what I'm doing and I have nothing to do, and especially it gives me an incentive to build out my base really well and make sure it's nice and defended if those mercs are going to be attacking it. I might take that trait.
There will be plenty of ways for you to tell your story. And if you want to remove a trait, there are ways to do that too.
What a view! It's a feast for the eyes. Off we go to another adventure.
We'll let you discover that on your own.
Once you've built the perfect character, that's when your journey can really begin. We took what we loved about skills and perks from our previous games and put them together to create an all-new skill system. Each time you level up, you get a skill point, which can be used to unlock or rank up skills. Ranks are unlocked by completing challenges associated with that skill. Challenges become increasingly difficult as you work your way to higher ranks. With our 5 different skill trees and 4 ranks per skill, there's a lot to choose from.
Let's be real. How many of these are going to be unlocked completely by accident by just playing the game? Just keep a mental over-under of how many it's going to be, because I wager it's going to be a lot. I got so high in the light armor tree on accident in Skyrim, like that I was practically unkillable by anything that wasn't a freaking giant. So, yeah. I wonder how much of this is just going to be unlocked on, like, you're not even going to realize that you did it until you take a look at your skill sheet, like, 10 hours later.
I like the xenosociology skill because it lets you mind control aliens.
Trying to determine how Scale Itch got onto Normandy, sexually transmitted disease only carried by Varen. Implications unpleasant.
Boost pack out of the gate. I'm boost packing everywhere.
I like maxing out my physical tree so I can get neuro strikes and just punch my way through combat.
Yep.
That one's a lot of fun.
Invest in the skills that suit your playstyle.
I'm very much a stealth player. So, I'm out there pickpocketing everyone. My favorite part about being stealthy is slowly creeping through vents like you're in a movie. And
those vents are huge. Huge. Put some turrets in there. Good God.
Then jumping out and springing on people.
Whenever possible, I like to talk my way through situations.
This area's off limits. Fine, I'll issue you an access card.
I'm more of a run and gun player. I like doing the death from above thing where I boost pack over guys and I throw landmines at them. I like blowing stuff up.
Valid. No strat. Blowing up everything. That's what I usually devolve into in Fallout anyway, so. The ship. Tell me.
Exploration is a key aspect of all our games. In Starfield, there are full star systems with new life, resources, and adventures.
They're not going to tell me. Great.
Our team worked hard to strike a balance between fun and realism. We studied data from NASA and a multitude of other sources to help us make the world feel believable. From the way we approached planetary atmospheres to the way we placed biomes based on the planet's distance from the sun. Once we had created a grounded world, we could start looking at all the things that make that world fun. When you leave a planet and head into space, you'll be navigating asteroid fields, having chance meetings with interesting strangers, dogfighting in space, and exploring derelict ships.
Yeah. That's something I wanted to Star Trek Online for a long time, is derelict ships.
It's all out there.
If you've ever watched, like, The Next Generation, or, like, the original series, or, Jesus Christ, Voyager did this all the damn time. You know that a derelict starship is, in Star Trek, is a recipe for fucking nightmare fuel. Something, like, whatever the fuck happened on that ship, you don't want any part of it. But you gotta. Like, you gotta respond to the distress calls. Like Starfleet's required to, you know, and you know you're low on resources. Voyager was constantly low on resources. You know, you got to go over. You got to see what happened. Maybe everybody like caught a virus that made them like die of old age in 20 minutes, or maybe they all like got stuck in a place, or maybe they all like got stuck in a place that like made their nightmares manifest, like in their waking like consciousness, and they all went crazy and killed each other. Or like maybe they just like hit some weird phenomena that made them all feel like they were drunk, and they like devolved into like giggling idiots and like blew themselves up. You never fucking know. But if you see a derelict Federation starship in Star Trek, look, just stay the fuck away. Don't go near it, because because that ship was full of the best, fucking experts in their fields, specialists, and if whatever happened to that ship, like, it could do that to them, you don't want to know what it can do to you. Like, give me that good old fashioned nightmare fuel. Like I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go on that ship and see what happened. Then I'm probably gonna shoot it and take the ship for myself.
Ultimately, it's about rewarding your curiosity, because whether it's on the surface of a planet, the alleys of a city, or the vastness of space, you never know what you'll find.
The ship. Show me about the ship. Different cockpits, good.
Space exploration is possible thanks to your ship. Your ship is almost like having another character or home you can make all your own. I think you'll be blown away by the amount of stuff you can do.
That looks like a plus.
You can buy a ship.
I'm sure you can find something you like.
Customize and upgrade that ship. And hire a crew to keep it up and running. And it all starts in spaceports. Every spaceport has a ship technician where you can purchase, sell, and modify ships.
Anything I can help you with?
Maybe you start off with a speedy fighter that's perfect for bounty hunting. Then you might round out your ship roster with a hulking space freighter to run cargo missions, or even do a little smuggling. For now, though, we're going to take our starting ship, the Frontier, and make some changes. You can customize and upgrade everything you see here, and you have two ways to do that. You can quickly upgrade individual systems like your weapons or shields, or you can deep dive and enter the shipbuilder mode. Here you can change anything, from the systems to the look and layout.
I will spend days of my life.
Adding a new habitat module can give you more room for crew. Adding cowling can change your ship's overall silhouette. An improved grav drive allows for longer distance space jumps. You can even fully customize your paint job to get the exact look you want. The parts you choose to build with don't just affect your ship's stats. They'll also affect what you can do inside your ship. You can have modules for crafting, or for storing and displaying your weapons. Starfield's in-game ship manufacturers bring their own look and feel to every piece of your ship.
That's a nice cockpit.
From living quarters to cargo holds, mess halls, and control rooms. Our modified Frontier is a practical ship, but with a little creativity, your ship can look like almost anything you want.
Engines are up front.
It's a bit odd, but one of my favorite ways of customizing ships is I make them look like animals. The HMS Platypus, as I called it, where it had a giant tail to it. And we've done spiders, we've done mechs.
So what you're telling me is that this is basically a gummy ship from Kingdom Hearts. You've made the gummy ships, but you've combined... Oh my god, that's actually kind of brilliant. You've combined the concept of base building, because this is, you have your crafting stations, this is your home base. Like, you can actually build a home base in this game, I know that, with its own spaceport. But this ship is, for all intents and purposes, for 90% of your time flying around, this ship is your home base. And so, you can basically turn it into whatever the hell you want, build it out to look like whatever the hell you want. As somebody who probably spent more time doing, playing the gummy ship stuff than anything else in any given Kingdom Hearts game, like, I have Kingdom Hearts 3. I have basically only done the gummy ship. I played the gummy ship stuff until the point where I made like an F-35. and that was it. And that was good. It was like, yep, I'm good. The rest of this game, the stupid Disney shit is never gonna be this fun. As flying around, as playing Star Fox in my fucking F-35 with its little, drone planes flying beside it. Like the Disney shit and all the QuickTime stuff, that's never going to be anywhere near as fun. So, yes, approved. Definitely. Oh my god, I'm going to sink so much time into this, probably.
So it's really whatever your imagination is.
And while you can build your home among the stars the way you want to, you're probably not the only person who will call your ship home.
Ready to lift off when you are, Captain.
Engines ready.
The Frontier is fueled and ready, Captain.
Some of the members of Constellation can join you on your journey. These companions can serve on your crew, and they'll always be there when you travel.
We'll be traveling together until we either find an artifact or this lead runs dry.
Each companion comes with their own valuable skills for your ships and outposts, as well as unique quest lines. Eventually, some friendships might blossom into romance.
I don't know that I've ever really loved anyone except you.
And if you're looking for a little extra help on your ship, you can always hire additional crew at spaceports.
Got any room on your ship for someone like me?
You'll also meet potential crew members out in the world.
Still think there might be a spot for me on your ship? I gotta get off this rock.
Assign crew to your ship or outposts, and their unique skills will affect how they run.
Stop. So, this is something that I wish Star Trek Online did. They started doing this with the tutorial missions, and then they stopped. And with stuff like, the first time they really tried to do this, they really dropped the ball. It was the brain buff from the Cold Wars featured episode series with where the Breen were attacking the Deferi, and you find the Preserver archive. You get a Breen buff at the end of that, and I was so hoping it was going to be the medic, because there's a combat medic that you have to talk to in one of the missions. He's in the custody of the Deferi, and I was hoping against hope that it was going to be that guy, because then that character has a story as to how he ends up on your ship. But it just turned out to be like a random tactical officer, and I like Pran. I had Pran in my away team for the longest time. He was my boy. I still have him. I still have him in my buff list, but it would have been so much more interesting if it was that character from that story that joined your crew, because that character has a story. He was part of a story, and now he's part of your story, and that all contributes to what Frontier, the elite guys can call a personal narrative. They did this better with Nell and Exel in the Reputation, in the Voth Reputation. That's a version of this where they do it right. Where you have this correspondence with him, and then he gets found out, and you have to go and rescue him, and he rescue him and beam him aboard, and then you unlock him as your Voth. That's a version of this done right. And then they started trying to do more of this with the Romulan stuff, but they went overboard and had to dial it back. But they do this sometimes where there's a Boff, for example, just sort of running around in What Lies Beneath or something, one of the Harry Kim missions, and you can just run into her in the middle of nowhere, and she will she'll ask to join your crew. I wish they did more of that instead of here's your a stupid holobuff, or here's an Alachi which you should be terrified of, which are terrible, and we've turned them into teddy bears. But this guy ended up there somehow. This guy was already part of things that were going on when you run into him, and so he has a story of how he ended up there, and you have the story of running into him and recruiting him, and then then things go from there. I like that.
And just like companions, most crew members can lend a hand in the field. Take Bosco, for instance.
He's designed around the core basics of a NASA machine.
Please, avoid getting shot. You might die.
I still wanted to give it almost a humanoid personality, so I elongated the limbs. This tends to make him feel more human-like and give him a little personality.
It is a shame exploration requires so much bloodshed.
Using the shipbuilding tools and crew selection features in Starfield, you'll be able to build and captain the ship of your dreams. And now, let's take to the sky.
Okay, show me combat. Because the space combat that I've seen so far has been pretty lackluster. You gotta give us a reason to upgrade our ship.
We're putting you in the cockpit of your very own spaceship and telling you that you can do pretty much anything. And that is really cool for us as developers. Spaceflight should be exciting and dangerous, and you should feel like you're in complete control every step of the way. We've extended that sense of control to ship combat. It's not about just hitting your triggers to fire your weapons. It's a complex dance between your piloting skills and our power allocation system. Boosting power to your engines will make your ship faster.
This is old stuff.
Powering up the grav drives will shorten the amount of time it takes before you can make a jump.
Descent knows this.
And moving your power to your weapons and shields means you're ready for a fight. You should always be on your toes because you're not alone out there. Unlocking the targeting control system skill will allow you to zero in on specific subsystems of the ship you target. After destroying an enemy ship, you can loot the remains from your cockpit. You can always turn any ship that engages you into scrap. But you can also take a more personal approach by docking with the enemy vessel and boarding their ship.
Hippity hoppity, your ship is my property. Oh, and it's bigger than mine too, yes.
Once you've taken control of an enemy ship, it's yours.
Yeah!
Add it to your fleet and retrieve it at any spaceport. But space is way more than fighting for your life. Just like when you're planetside, there are plenty of sights to see and stops to make on the way to your next adventure. Like these massive star yards. Walk the halls, talk to the crew, maybe get talked into buying a whole new ship.
A civilian in my star yard. Let's see about getting you a proper ship, one worthy of you.
Maybe you'll dock with a gigantic battleship, like the UC Vigilance. Or rub elbows with the galaxy's wealthy elite on a cruise ship fit for the stars. There are plenty of personal encounters to be had as well. You can hail any ship you come across to trade, swap info, or maybe even commit an act of piracy.
Let's do this.
When I'm playing, I generally go crazy. I definitely go like the more piracy routes. I want to take over ships. I'm going to board ships. I'm like, this is now mine. I steal all these sandwiches and put them, in my cargo hold that I have specifically for sandwiches. I don't want to play the hero, but I want to go out and just start taking things from people as quickly as possible.
Some strangers might be looking for a little human connection in the darkness of space.
Hello, stranger. I just finished cooking up some food. If you want to come on over, just pop on by.
Some of the best moments are the ones you discover on your own. The thing I love most about Starfield is that it is a Bethesda game through and through. It's really about going to strange new places, meeting interesting people, and getting sidetracked on zany adventures. Then, realizing 2 hours later that you're involved in a completely new story.
You're human. We thought we were the only ones to leave Earth.
That DNA is so present here. It's in our random encounters, it's in our handcrafted quests, and it feels so cool to play it and just make your own path in this universe. There are over 1,000 planets out there, just waiting for you to visit. We want you to feel like explorers, breaking ground on new planets, exploring every inch of a mostly untouched galaxy. We want you to feel hopeful. We want you to feel this sense of awe and wonder, and sometimes a little fear. We're giving you a massive playground and a ton of toys, and just setting you free.
Hey everybody, we've shown you so much stuff, but we thought we'd just take a little break and show you something a little bit different. You know, we put so much detail into our game worlds, and we love the opportunity to bring that into the real world with our collector's editions. And for this game, we've done a watch. It is the Constellation Explorer's Watch. This is the watch that you actually get in the game that acts as part of your HUD, where it's the compass and then environmental information.
Like your HUD.
It connects to your phone to give you notifications and other information. And we've also designed this really cool case that it comes with, Istvan.
Yeah, we really took as much care in designing this case as we did the watch. Our attention to detail in the game totally translates to this. Inspired by the cases that the astronauts used during the Apollo era to bring back samples from the moon. It's got an intricate locking mechanism, authentic, heavy, comes with a Constellation patch, NATO strap, and the overall functionality and believability of this as something that would exist in the world, in the Starfield universe.
Oh, and hey, take this. You'll find it very useful out there, and it even tells the time.
We actually have something else. Now that we're part of Xbox, we get to work with the amazing people on the Xbox hardware team, and together we have created this custom limited edition Starfield controller. It's awesome. It is now, you know, our favorite controller.
We love this because it's inspired by the actual controls of your spaceship.
Fallout and Skyrim controllers.
And not only that, we've created the first ever custom headset with Xbox, and this is a perfect pairing with that controller.
Control, this is Constellation Starship Frontier. Ready to start on your signal. Steady till ready. Coordinates input. Plotting jump course. Guidance has converged. Getting auxiliary reactor power. System checks are green across the board. Prepare for departure. Grav jump commencing in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Stop!
In every one of our games, we always put so much care into all those little details that breathe life into our worlds. But Starfield isn't just a Bethesda Game Studios world, it's a Bethesda Game Studios galaxy. So why go this big with Starfield? Because we want to give you freedom on a galactic level.
Because it's going to take
The freedom to experience both
Scrolls
the
6,
exciting
man.
planets and the quiet ones. Scanning a planet before you land is a great way to get a
So we're
sneak
just gonna
peek
make
at the
this game
available
for you for the next
resources
10
you can use
years.
for crafting, building, and customizing.
I think what's cool about this whole system that we generate the planet itself as a procedural content, but the handcrafted content itself comes as the player explore. Our system builds the planet as the player approaches it. We stitch together a block of terrain. After that, we have the system that adds interesting locations for the player to explore, creatures to encounter, ore and plants to pick up. It allows us to add that touch of environmental storytelling that Bethesda is known for.
Aggressive creatures have been disrupting our experiments.
Their habitat isn't far from here. If you could take care of them for us, we would be in your debt.
So even if your friends were to visit the same planet that you had, you would have a different story to tell.
Prove that you did it. Oh, Berserk robots. Rapid Celsius. Oh no. Significantly less.
It's completely up to you how you want to interact with each planet, whether you want to explore and see what you can find, harvest resources and be on your way, or simply take in the views. With the help of your scanner, you'll chart the uncharted and discover exotic wildlife.
If you have the skills, you can even figure out that certain creatures and plants, you can build an outpost and produce resources from those plants and animals. You can get experience and rewards for fully surveying planets and fully surveying a whole system.
This game is a completionist nightmare. This game may kill him. If, like, if you have to scan every goddamn thing. Yeah.
When we were concepting these creatures, we really wanted to think of them as natural to the environment. We didn't want alien monsters, we wanted native wildlife. Something you've never seen before.
When it comes to our exteriors, when the sun moves, all that light is calculated in real time through the atmosphere. Our biggest goal for lighting with Starfield was to make the game feel more filmic, to use lighting and color to really make it feel more cinematic.
I want to know how... I want to see... Because this is all running internally. I want to see actual gameplay of this thing. To see how it actually runs. Because this is a lot of new technology that's being bolted onto a Frankenstein engine that's been around since fucking Morrowind, man. Like, the creation engine is basically like just a really heavily Frankenstein version of like the Gamebryo engine. I think it was called, the thing that was running games like Morrowind, Oblivion, Fallout 3. So yeah, like I want to see how this looks like in a practical setting on somebody's computer who's trying to play this fucker, because this is a lot of new tech, and what new tech tells me, unless you're Hideo Kojima and have made like some kind of deal with Dagon to make an open world game that somehow runs flawlessly on 2 gigabytes of DDR2 RAM, and that happened. I ran Ground Zeroes. I played the hell out of it on a computer with a dual core 2 gigahertz processor and 2 gigabytes of RAM on a motherboard that maxed out at 2 gigabytes of RAM. So this is an old computer. This computer was old enough to have IDE hard drives at one point, and it was able to run and the Fox engine was so incredibly well optimized that it was able to run Ground Zeroes and even Phantom Pain fairly well. So unless you're Hideo Kojima and you've made a deal with Dagon, what this guy is telling me with all this new tech, because we are talking about Bethesda here, okay? Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. The company. I want to... How well optimized is this? Because I'd be willing to wager the answer is not very. I want to see how much of this shit I'm going to have to slash and burn in the PC settings to get the game running well.
After some exploring, you can find a spot to set up a base camp. Outposts can be built almost anywhere on any planet. And the habitat modules come in all shapes and sizes, filling all different purposes. You can even live in them. Assign crew and companions to work at your outposts for added bonuses, and set up extractors to harvest resources while you're away.
Something cool we have this time is we have a new fly cam, where you can toggle between on-foot building, or you can now use a top-down isometric camera, which helps plan out larger parts of the outpost and placing those larger halves. So that way you can really plan your structures and what the overall feel of your outpost is. And then when you're on your feet, you can really decorate and fine-tune things much easier.
It's like settlements combined with Subnautica. I like it. I can't wait for all these assets to end up in Gmod.
Add crafting and research stations in your outpost to utilize any resources you find or already have.
Mod your weapons to adapt them to your playstyle. Different weapon sights and scopes, larger magazines, a selection of grips and barrels, different ammunition like explosive rounds.
Gun customization.
All you stealth players out there will surely need a suppressor. You can also choose to go hands-on with melee weapons.
I think it's always a delicate balance between...
Those looked Fallout 4 as fuck. Those melee animations. As fuck.
Like, what's realistic, what's sim, and what's Hollywood. And I think we sort of err on the side of, like, what's fun for the player.
With Starfield, we've completely overhauled our combat. It's more dynamic, the animations are more fluid. It just feels great.
We probably have more mods and more weapons in this game than, I want to say, any other game we've done before. There's a lot of variety.
Upgraded gear is just one of the many factors to pay attention to when engaging in combat. You may need to switch things up based on your environment. Gravity is different for each planet, and boost packs are excellent for getting around. And for giving you an edge in combat. Sometimes you'll even feel like you're flying. Zero-gravity environments pose a different challenge. Firing a ballistic weapon in zero-G will actually push you backwards. Energy weapons, on the other hand, offer a more stable shooting experience.
We also have mag weapons. These are high-powered electromagnetic induction ballistic arrays. Each barrel has its own targeting laser and can dish out some serious damage. Whether you want to get up close and personal with your own two fists, or you like more compact weapons like pistols and submachine guns, or maybe you prefer something bigger. Starfield's got you covered.
That revolver looked like a fight to this. Like the combat is basically just Fallout with a jump pack with jump jets. That's it. That's what it is.
thanks again for being with us today. We are just so grateful that you've taken the time and spent it here. I know there was probably a lot to take in. There's a lot to the game, even more than we could show here. You know, as we play it, we're always sharing these unique and special moments that only a game like this can bring. When I think about what makes it special, it really is the people here. This game is a reflection of the incredible and passionate team that made it. All of them putting something special of themselves into it. So let's hear some of their favorite moments.
I love the way that our final combination of all the new tech has come together to create some of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises we've ever had in any of our games.
I love the creatures, the exploration, every biome is different. The word that comes to mind is vast.
I like to use our photo mode to take rock star photos.
I just love that constant feel of discovery and wow, I can't believe that there's more here.
I'm most excited about our outpost building systems.
My favorite part is every time you step out on a planet, it's a unique experience.
You spent all this time building your ship and you see it on the landing pad. These things are gigantic. It's the kind of thing that you just can't get anywhere else.
I like that design.
There's something about seeing a tower over in the distance and going, I know the gravity's low here. I think I can make that jump.
My favorite part is biomes, spaceships,
audio design, planets,
the day-night cycle. Those details matter to me.
Diplomacy, exploration, freedom, the ending.
Beskap, obviously.
I love the robot so much.
The incredible amount of worlds we created.
Sniper rifles, come on. Lever action, rocket launcher.
Brain sprout.
Yeah.
I love, but some people might find creepy. I don't know. I know it's right, Ben. The thing that I enjoy most about the game is the freedom to be who you want to be, do what you want to do. It's what you've come to expect from a Bethesda title, but on a much bigger scale.
On behalf of all of us, we can't wait for you to play Starfield and make your own special moments.
Main engines go. Good luck, Constellations. You are go for launch.
Sale anywhere other than the Bethesda, well, and obviously on Xbox, but will it be for sale on PC anywhere besides the Bethesda storefront? Steam. There we go.
Play it day one with Game Pass.
Yes, play it day one with Game Pass. That's how I want to play. That's how I want to play a Bethesda game. Day one, before it's been fixed. They keep ratcheting up what they want to do with each successive release, and there is a point where you hit a hard limit on how far you can take that, and I'm curious when that is going to be. And I feel like it's either going to be this or whatever they're doing with Elder Scrolls 6 that's going to take 10 years to fucking make it. But this is incredibly ambitious. If, and I do stress if, it all works as intended, this looks like a fantastic game that I'm going to sink a ridiculous amount of time into. I am absolutely going to dive into this. Man, the back end of this year is fucking packed for me, isn't it? Because Armored Core's coming out, too. And that gameplay looked fantastic as well. I'll probably, if I can find a decent, if I can find some decent clips of that, I'll probably talk about that at some point as well. Because that looked really, really good. That looks like exactly what I wanted Armored Core 4 to be back in the day. As I was watching the clips of actual long gameplay that they released like recently, I was like watching it like that was on my wish list. That was on my wish list. Like beam blade combos and whatnot. Like, yeah. Like this is that like short, like long story short, Armored Core, real quick. What Armored Core 4 should have been is what Armored Core 6 looks like so far to me. So yeah, I can't wait for that one either. But that and Starfield, shit. But Starfield, there's gonna be a lag time though, because Starfield is gonna. Bethesda makes a lot of decisions. They like to fill their environments with stuff, but that stuff isn't always useful. So there's gonna be some lag time where Bethesda's fixing things, the mod community is fixing things. And the mods are going to come out, like the memory mods, for example, that you had to download for, like, fucking Skyrim and Fallout. But, like, once the mod community is, like, fixing the stuff that Bethesda isn't, and, like, they're coming up with, like, the script extenders and, like, what have you to make modding work, essentially. And then they're going to start fixing the things that Bethesda kind of didn't think through all the way. They aren't broken. They're working as intended, but not really all that useful. Like the original settlement system, which was in New Vegas, which was a mod. So, like, the settlement system in Fallout 4 is basically just the New Vegas mod. Because they're like, oh, well, shit. This makes all that junk we fill our levels with actually useful and do something meaningful. Okay, but let's steal it and put it in Fallout 4. So those are the things I'm going to be waiting for. Waiting for Bethesda to fix it, waiting for the mod community to fix it, and waiting for the mod community to start making meaningful making additions to the game that make the existing game, not necessarily the new stuff that they're working on, but the existing game stuff in there more meaningful. I'm honestly a little bit concerned because that's only a couple months away, that release date. This game's already been delayed like how many times? Like, it's been delayed how many times, and now you're saying it's releasing in a couple months? I don't know. This game will either be transcendent or apocalyptic. There is no in between with something like this. It will either be amazing or it will be, well, it'll be amazing either way, to be honest. But yeah, oof. Like, to pause this video to hawk the merch. The stupid watch. The stupid second screen watch. Because ever since Fallout 4, Bethesda games have to have some stupid second screen gimmick that Todd himself said was stupid when he walked out on stage to talk about it. Like ever since then, you know. Come on. We made nobody gives a shit about the custom headphones. Tell me if you give a shit about the custom controller and the custom headphones. The D-pad on that controller looks like ass. Oh. That's about where I'm at. I'm extremely hopeful for this game. I'm also extremely nervous. I feel like towards this the same way I felt towards the first entry in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, which is I was feeling like it's only Midgar, and what they ended up doing with that, which when you think about it, this is kind of the opposite approach to Starfield, but it's the same kind of like large scale. We're building Final Fantasy VII in full 3D. And we're doing Midgar, but we're going to flesh out Midgar to the point where it's worthy of being its own game, effectively. And then they introduced all the alternate universe shit, and I'm just as frightened for Remake, Rebirth, and Reunion, whether or not they'll be able to stick the landing. that they're building up towards. Same fear for Starfield. I hope it's good. Please be good. Please don't suck. I've been lied to before. I've been lied to by Bethesda also before. Please don't suck. See you guys later.